I'm Stephen McGurk. I'm the Vice President of Programs at Canada's International Development Research Centre. We've worked with the RIMIS network since its origins and have been proud to be associated with the work that the network has done. We believe very real results have been achieved in a number of different domains. And this conference, I think, has brought out among the key insights that have been produced over the last 5 years, but obviously these insights and policy engagement build on a much longer foundation of work that makes this work so persuasive. The fact that this work has begun to seriously engage with policy in a number of countries that are themselves undergoing dramatic transformations. Specifically, I would point to Colombia, Mexico, and Chile, is of the greatest personal interest to me. In my job, I have to engage with decision makers, both who design policies and programs, but also those who execute those programs, who implement those programs, and who draw lessons from the usual failures of those programs. So for me, the most important thing that the network has done, not the only important thing it's done, but the most important thing it's done has been its engagement around policy change. I also think that there are very important contributions this network has made to knowledge generation that is of broader value to the world. As I explained in my comments in the plenary, too often we focus on the local knowledge generation, and a program that says it's about territorial development has an extra burden of going beyond just local knowledge production. Global knowledge production is particularly important, not just to be able to share experience and hard-won lessons with others, but also because it establishes a credibility to the work. And that credibility comes in enormously handy when talking to decision makers in many different countries. It's no surprise that ministers fly around the world to be at a RIMIS conference because you have established enormous credibility in your work. So global knowledge production is an important element. So for all of those reasons, I've been delighted to be here personally. Like any conference that brings together such a disparate group of policy researchers, academics, and the occasional decision maker, there are very different things on offer. And it's often difficult to draw out significant lessons of policy or design. Still, that said, I've been pleased at the many conversations I've enjoyed, the many discussions I've joined in through these last 2 days, and have found them to be meaningful and influential in my own work around the world. For us, we have continued our engagement with agriculture, which remains a central element of any territorial development. And we're looking at how perhaps some of these lessons and results might be taken up in some way in sub-Saharan Africa, where in fact the changes have been somewhat slower than in Latin America and Asia around agricultural transformation, around structural transformation, around extremely dynamic agri-food systems. Africa has seen a much slower and much patchier development, and while in the very recent couple of years we've seen enormous change in these directions, there's still a very, very long way to go. So we're hopeful that some of the lessons of the RIMIS network's work, some of the knowledge that it's generated, will have some relevance for our work in sub-Saharan Africa.